Hi everybody, welcome back. Here's another video for you. This one's a little bit longer. I'm going to talk to you about a few different things in this video. I'm hoping you've been keeping up with the blogs and the podcasts so you understand the context of this. We're slowly building up our concept of purposeful provision. In this video, I want to talk to you about how you're going to select the resources for your continuous provision and potentially what happens if you've got to this point and there's a mismatch between what you've provided and what the children are doing with those things. So let's start from the scratch, from the beginning. I just want to reinforce my understanding, or at least what I tell my clients my understanding is around continuous provision and why I make the distinction I do. Some people, some of my colleagues will call all provision provided in your room continuous provision. They will not make that distinction between continuous and enhancements the way that I do. I tend to say to people that continuous provision are the resources that you have from the first day of the year all the way through to the end of the year. I don't know if you can hear that plane going overhead, but I've started this video 4 times and I'm carrying on. So it's things like your rolling pins, your construction blocks. It's all those different things that you know have capacity to be used in lots of different ways throughout the year. Those things are really open-ended. You can be using your bricks on day 1 to talk about balance, on day, week 2 talk about shape. On week 3 you can talk about bridging, and the idea is you can develop the knowledge and skills across a long period of time because they're so open to be used in lots of different ways. Your continuous provision should make up probably about 3/4 of the space in your room. Because it's so open-ended, they can be used in lots of ways. Then the rest of the space will be used for enhancements, whatever they might be. Those things are usually closed, or at least quite closed-ended, used for a particular purpose, like a topic or a theme, for a short period of time and then moved away. Sometimes the enhancements might be more open-ended and might even last a bit longer. We'll talk about that properly next week. So that's my distinction between continuous and enhanced provision, and I'm sticking with it because it makes sense to me and my clients. Then we've got the idea of exploration and play, which is a really important factor here when it comes to considering what resources to provide for our children. Think about when you're going on your home visits or when you're learning as much as you possibly can about the children in your care. You kind of get to know about the resources they've got at home, the kind of experiences they have at home. You know enough about the children to begin to think, actually, I'm going to be able to provide things in my classroom or my setting that they've got from home. Essentially, what we're trying to provide is things that they've already explored before. Piaget talks about this distinction between play and exploration. He says that all human beings on the planet need to pass through a period of exploration where we use all of our senses to make sense of an object. So you might put it in your mouth, you might smell it, you might taste it. This is plastic, by the way, not sensorially inert, as many people would say, because if you can see it, feel it, it's got a sensory feedback. You know enough about this through exploring to be able to one day say, I need to create a boat for my little people. I know I've got something I can use. I've tested this in water before, so I'm going to use this. We pass through exploration for everything, absolutely everything in the world. And the more unusual an object is, the longer our period or process of exploration is. Now, exploration is solitary. It's quiet. It's usually inside of our brains. Sometimes it's out loud if you're a younger child. Exploration is vital and very important, but it's not the most important thing. The most important thing is play. Because through play, we begin to problem solve. It's social. We learn a lot more than we do through exploration. We can't pass to play without passing through exploration first, which is why many settings will often try to have lots and lots and lots of new items for children to explore. The problem with that is exploration can also be quite destructive. Things can be thrown, broken, and actually, to some extent, the items you provide, if they're very unusual, that exploration period lasts so long that we miss out on the deeper, more important aspects of play. I see it quite a lot with clients who have introduced quite a lot of charity shop finds without carefully structuring the journey towards that charity shop find. Again, we'll talk about that in the future. So, with exploration and play in mind, let's have a little think about what kind of resources we need to source for our continuous provision. I've mentioned that those resources should ideally be quite open-ended and be used in lots of different ways. I tell my clients to choose resources that are either familiar or similar. And by that I mean familiar, I've seen that before, it's the same as the one I've got at home. Or similar, I've seen something like that before. I know how to use that because what I can do is take my knowledge that I've gleaned from something else and I can apply it to something just like it that I've seen before. I know I can write with it just like one I've got at home. It's a small step from the known to the unknown. So your continuous provision should be flooded with things that you know the children have either experienced before or are very similar to things they've experienced before. Your continuous provision shouldn't contain things they've never experienced before. Now, of course, we cannot know our children 100%. So you're always going to have a few things they've not seen before where exploration will come in. But your children shouldn't be stepping into essentially a charity shop or a junk shop where all these things are brand new and unusual. That means they're not going to be able to get to deep play particularly quickly. Familiar and similar, it underpins the continuous provision choices. You might find that your continuous provision at this point of the year is not working as effectively as you'd like. Now, there's a few different things here. It could be that some of the things might seem too easy, as in they're too mismatched, as in the open opportunities, the capacity or the affordances of objects are misaligned to the current play styles of your children. So for example, providing things like mega blocks when you've got children who are actually able to handle Lego. Well, I can't quite create with mega blocks what I'm after creating with Lego, therefore I'm not going to play with those things. That's one reason why your continuous provision might not be working particularly effectively. But the other one is most likely, it's what I see 99% of the time, it's that things are placed out without people asking themselves why. Where does this fit into the culture of my children? Is this familiar or similar to my children? If not, maybe I need to swap it out for something at this point that is familiar or similar. Now, whilst continuous provision should be there every single day of the year, it is okay if something's not working to take it out and try something different. And over time, you'll be able to tune into your culture better to be able to make sure you have those things right at the beginning of the year. And those are my dogs barking. Again, I'm not recording this video for the 5th time. Guys, stay safe and I'll catch you next week.